I want to welcome everybody here tonight, and I appreciate the turnout. A nice big group. The purpose of here tonight is to talk a little bit about the home port change and a couple other questions that perhaps you might have. I'm just going to step off the stage here in about a nanosecond and introduce the captain, but I wanted to welcome everybody and remind you that as we go through this process of the home port change, the key is for you to help us help you, okay? Ultimately, you know, you have your moves and all those things that you need to plan. We're here to help you out. We're bringing the right folks together, and we want to make sure that you get the right information. But where we do have, and this will be talked about later, but I want to highlight it, where you do have specifics on needs, such as people that need to leave soon, right, because you have the babies to deliver, things like that. We need to know, and you need to make sure your sailor's talking to us, okay? So with that, I'd like to introduce Captain McCullen, our CO, and I'm going to step off the stage. Sir?
I'm really excited about tonight because last night when we went to Dragonvale, we brought out a whole bunch of subject matter experts. Okay, so tonight we're going to introduce some folks from personal property. Okay, we've got Miss Latasha Harris coming in this evening. She's running a little bit behind, so we'll kind of mix up the flow, but you'll get all the information that we put out last night at Dragonvale. We've got PS2 Boston and Chief Warrant Officer Burson from PSD to talk a little bit about paying entitlements. Yeah, Peters Boston. And the most important thing for some of you in here, moving your pets, right? Getting those flights to move the pets back home. And then we've got Queenie Babineau, which I don't think there's anybody that has been here for any amount of time that doesn't know Queenie, but she's from Housing Office. And also from Housing, a little bit later, we're hoping she's going to get in here. We have Miss Darnell Garcia. And Darnell just came here from San Diego. So there's some goodness in that she'll be able to talk to us about what the housing situation is like in San Diego. So it's appropriate. She's a little bit late. We'll have her at the end of the presentation. But we've got a lot of good information. I told the group last night that I'm a guy that goes to the airport 3 hours before my flight takes off. All right? I do that because I don't like to be all stressed out, worrying if I'm going to get through security, or worrying if my bags are going to get checked, or worrying if I get a flat tire or my car breaks down, which actually happened to me going to Fukuoka. And guess what? I left early, so I was able to get my car towed back to the base in Sasebo, able to get the driver from ITT to take me up to Fukuoka, and I still made my flight on time. Okay? The reason I tell you about that is because that's the approach I want to take with our home port change. The more that we can do up front and right off the bat to be prepared for this move, the less stressful it is for everybody. The less stressful it is for you, your families, my family, all of you. So we're getting you set up for a successful move that's not very stressful, okay? You know how Navy moves go. Most of you in the room have done a Navy move or two in your time. And, you know, even the best laid plans, there's going to be some hiccups, but if you'll, like the XO said, if you'll work with us help you. We do have the request for information site that Lieutenant Commander Cads is going to talk a little bit about tonight before we round out the evening, so you can get a hold of us with questions that aren't answered by some of our subject matter experts that are here tonight, or you just forgot what they said and you want to get some more amplifying information, or maybe we didn't even cover the topic that you wanted to talk about, and that's available to you to write.
My name is Latasha Harris. I'm the personal property manager at Sasebo. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen our office before. We're located right across the street from the food court in building 132. Okay, so the form that's being passed around, this form is basically, it shows you how to create a record in DPS. So if you see this form, it just tells you how to create a record in DPS, okay? So you just need to go to the Move.mil website and just follow the steps. Now, because the majority of everybody in here, you're not going to receive PCS orders, you're going to receive a home port change certificate, and we don't actually have that certificate right now. So when you go into the system and you create your record, just make sure you put home port change certificate, put yes. Your order number, you can put HPC 1234 or HPC, and the last four of the sponsor's social. The order's date, you can just put the 15th of October. Now later on, when we get the actual certificate, we're going to go into the system and we're going to update your contact information and order number, everything that we need to update when we actually have the certificate. Now sometimes you might encounter a problem with creating a record in DPS. Some of you are probably familiar with the system. It can get kind of complicated, or depending on your connection, it just doesn't work. So what we do have is a personal property questionnaire. If you flip the page over, if you encounter any problems with going into DPS, you can fill out this form, okay? Once you finish creating the record in DPS and filling out this document, you need to send us an email. And if you flip back over to the first page, at the very bottom of the page, it has our office email address, okay? And then it also has my information, contact phone number, and email address. Now, when you put in the information in the system, please keep in mind that for every 4,000 pounds you estimate you have to give the company 1 day to pack. So if you estimate you have 4,000 pounds, they're going to pack and pick up in 1 day. 8,000, they're going to pack and then pick up the remaining amount the next day, and so on and so forth, okay? The requested pickup dates that you add in the system, this is a tentative date, okay? Nothing is confirmed until you actually receive confirmation email from the TSP. So just keep in mind, nothing is confirmed until it's actually booked. Now what we have in mind is, once we get the actual certificate and you've emailed the personal property questionnaire or you created the record in the system, we're going to go in there, we're going to make the corrections that our office needs to make, and then we're going to contact you to set up a personal property briefing. At this particular briefing, that's when you sign all your shipping documentation. We'll also go over your personal property entitlements, okay? Now, is there anybody in here that has property in non-temporary storage back in the States? Okay, so just keep in mind, you can't set up the release of your non-temporary storage until you actually have a physical delivery address, okay? Now, normally when you go back to the States, within 30 days of your report date, they will extend that NTS up to 30 days, okay? Just make sure you're in contact with the transportation office in San Diego and let them know that you don't have an address yet, and let them research and find out when your NTS is set to expire, okay? Now, does anybody have POV in government storage? Okay, because your POV is stored in government storage, keep in mind the government will pay for your POV to be released out of storage and sent to the San Diego VPC, okay? So just make sure that when you're talking to your counselors that you let them know that information, okay? So once you sign your documentation, we go over your entitlements, we're going to submit the record in the system to be booked, all right? Now, prior to the moving company coming out to your residence, they're going to complete a pre-move survey. At this pre-move survey, they just complete this to determine if they need to bring in additional personnel, how many crates they need to bring, if there's any special crating that needs to be created, and around a good estimate of how much personal property that you're going to ship. Now, some of you might have multiple shipments. You might have unaccompanied baggage and household goods, or just household goods, or just unaccompanied baggage. It's really your choice. If you have different shipments, have your unaccompanied baggage in one room. If you have pro gear, and that's your professional gear, we suggest you put that in a different area. And then the household goods, they'll pack the household goods. The reason why I say that, because sometimes people have items that accidentally packed in household goods that were trying to ship an unaccompanied baggage. Or some of their pro gear got shipped in the household goods. So just keep that in mind, just to separate those shipments for when you actually schedule your pickup. Once your shipment arrives in the local area, you're authorized 90 days of temporary storage. If you need more time, you don't have a residence, so there's an issue, contact the transportation office there, and they can let you know what documentation you need to submit to apply for an additional 90 days. So after they complete the pre-move survey and they actually come out to your residence, just keep in mind you're required to be there between the hours of 8 and 5. If you can't be there or your spouse can't be there, you can authorize someone else to be there. They have to be 18 or older, and you have to write a letter authorizing them to be there for the pickup, okay? If you need to make any changes to your pickup date once it's actually confirmed, please contact our office and let us know so we can reschedule within a certain time frame, okay? If they come out to your residence and no one's there, they're required to wait 1 hour, and after 1 hour, they could charge you attempted pickup fees, okay? So if there's any kind of changes, any emergencies, please contact our office, okay? So once they pick up your shipment and it's sent to San Diego, like I mentioned before, you authorize initially 90 days of storage if you can't accept delivery, and then if you need to file for an additional 90 days, contact the transportation office, okay? So if you need to file a claim, just keep in mind, once the shipment is delivered, you have 75 days to initiate the claim, and you have 9 months to finalize it with the company, okay? Now, certain issues that you might see when you actually go into the system or fill out the questionnaire, it asks you for your emergency in transit number. That's just like an emergency point of contact and a contact phone number and their address, just in case we need to contact you en route to San Diego. Keep in mind the estimated weights. It's just the estimated amount, okay? So we won't get the actual weight until your property is weighed. So just keep that in mind. And then we have the members estimate 1,000 pounds for fully furnished room, okay? Any questions? Okay. Like I mentioned before, if you look at the very bottom of the first page, my contact information is there. If you have any questions, please contact our office. We understand this is going to be a long process. Some people are moving a little bit earlier, some people are moving a little bit late. But just keep in mind, the sooner that you complete this and you create your record, then the sooner we can actually book the shipment, okay? Also, keep in mind, again, the dates that you requested in the system is a tentative date. Nothing is confirmed until you receive notification from the TSP. Okay? Any questions? Yes?
The average amount of time for the express and the household goods from here to San Diego?
Unfortunately, if you get the household goods and the baggage picked up around the same time, they're going to arrive around the same time. Unfortunately, no. Yeah. So sometimes it's not even worth it, unless you're shipping unaccompanied baggage like a month before. But if it's picked up around the same time, it's going to arrive around the same time.
Do you think about 2 months?
Between 60 to 90 days for household goods and unaccompanied baggage. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can you have unaccompanied baggage shipped to a different location than your household goods?
You talking about delivery in San Diego?
Like if I decide to stay with my family for a little while, can I have my unaccompanied baggage sent to my family's house while my household goods go to San Diego?
You might be subject to excess costs because technically you authorize a shipment to San Diego. So just keep that in mind.
But it's possible if we pay the excess for that.
Yeah, it's possible. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Being military, you can ship your items anywhere you want to, but you're subject to excess costs. You can ship your items to Greenland if you wanted to, but you're subject to excess costs. Okay? Any other questions?
Natasha, one more on excess costs. So what if you go over your entitled amount for weight?
If you go over your entitlement, first they do is they subtract if you have any pro gear, so they subtract that weight. And then they subtract 10% for packing materials. And after that, if you're still over your weight, then eventually you're going to get a bill stating how much you owe. Okay? And normally, from what I've seen, it takes a couple of years for you to find out for sure.
So I'm just going to go specifically on military family housing. At that table right there where Ms. Tomoko is, there's some paperwork that you can pick up. These are also sent to your ombudsman this morning, and Lieutenant Commander Cass has them as well. This is your move-out procedure for family housing. We know a majority of you in here doesn't have orders yet. It's okay. If you have any questions, please come see us. Our office number is 252-3402. Please make sure you call us and make an appointment in advance. Because we are still PCSing a lot of new families from the WAPs, and we are trying to PCSing you guys out. So please try to make an appointment so we don't have you stand in line forever. Okay, so once you schedule a pack-out date with Ms. Latasha's office, please come see us. We are separate offices. we work with each other, but we don't really connect with each other that much. So once you finish personal property office, please come see us in our office. Our office is now in building 200, right across from Main Base Medical, up on the 3rd floor. Okay? So for those, well, since you guys live on base, when you come and do your intent to vacate appointment, we will schedule your pre-inspection. Pre-inspection will just come through your unit, determine if there's any damages, we'll tell you what we expect from you in terms of cleaning your government quarters. If your household goods still at the house, it's okay. Like I said, it's just a pre-inspection. And we'll also talk about loaner furniture delivery. If you need loaner furniture, we will get that for you as well. So just a reminder, loaner furniture we cover is bedroom set, living room set, dining room set. So if you need pots and pans, that type of stuff, Fleet and Family Support Center is your resource. Make sure you keep your own bed sheets, pillow, that type of stuff. We don't provide those, just for sanitary reasons. So at this point, we are just setting up pre-inspection. Once you get your flight itinerary in hand, we'll schedule your final inspection. So final inspection, we normally schedule it the day before your flight departure. Because per instruction, you're only authorized for 1 night TLA, so 1 night at the lodge. Anything more than that 1 night, you're out of pocket. Okay? Who have pets in here? For those who have pets, we'll work with you. If lodging is not available, we'll have you just stay in the unit at the quarter till you leave. Because Navy Lodge right now have about 6 to 8 rooms. They will take pets less than 50 pounds. And you will need to make your reservation way in advance. So if you know around approximately what time you're leaving, go ahead, contact the Navy Lodge. 252-3608 is their phone number. So any questions for housing at this point? So at your final inspection, usually, like I mentioned, I'll get to her, it's right before your departure date. So to be ready for your final inspection, because you live on base, the requirement is a little bit less than those who live out in town. All we require is for you to dust, sweep, and mop. If there's a light bulb that's out, go ahead, change it now. All the light bulbs, you can get them at NEX or NAFCO out in town. So, and who has a question?
I was
Yes.
just wondering if you're definitely going to have enough loaner furniture for everyone?
We do.
They're all going to be?
Yes, we have enough loaner furniture for everyone. So you should be good. Sir?
How far in advance for the pre-inspection? So if we're not planning on moving on until later, and we do the pre-inspection now, there's about 6 months of gap.
Yeah, we try to do pre-inspection maybe 60 days out as much as possible. Anything further out, sometimes it's harder for us to determine what you will need to do before you go. So 60 days is approximately good guidelines. So for those of you who are planning to leave like the next month or two, just come make an appointment with me and we'll work it out together on what day you'll do your pre-inspection and whatnot. Any further questions about moving out of Sasebo? Okay. And Ms. Darnell will go over, heading over to San Diego. If you don't have questions, I'll be sticking around a little bit if you guys have any questions. Again, all the paperwork that's on the back desk and all your ombudsmen have them as well. Hopefully they'll send them out to you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Darnell Garcia. I'm the housing manager here in Sasebo, but I just came from San Diego, so I can give you some information regarding housing in San Diego. The military housing in San Diego, we have about like 9,318 units for 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 bedrooms. So regarding about application, you can send your application ahead of time, and 30 days prior of your arrival date, they can offer you a unit so that when you get there, you have a unit available. And you can apply through online, but you have to submit the copy of your orders, a copy of your page 2, and also the promulgation letter or a certificate. So the application is going to be, all the waiting lists, what I mean is for the month of October, I already print, it's already on the table, and all the information that regarding military housing is on the table too. And the point of contact for BHR in San Diego is Renee Ferros, and her phone number, if you guys can contact her, the area code is 619-556-7322. So, or you can email her. It's better you can contact her because she's aware that I'm gonna do the briefing for her for tonight. So, Renee, her first name is Renee, and last name is Frios. So, her phone number is 619-556-7322. 7322. So the application, you can get, I print some, and also if you're looking for private rentals, I print this one too, the Heat. So you can go to homes.mil or the Heat. In San Diego, the military housing there is privatized. It's managed by our partner, which is Lincoln Military Housing. So if you decided, because your housing allowance in San Diego is a little bit higher than overseas, so you have a choice to live on base, on military housing, or you can live off base too. But the only incentive in military housing, some of the waiting lists, you can save money because they give you some incentives, not full housing allowance. Some is a full housing allowance. It depends how the location. I print the distance, the location, and then I print some of the pictures of all the military housing.
PS2 Boston, Supervisor of Transfer Section. My YC is back, out back, Chief Warrant Officer Birdson, and my LPO, PS1 Martinez. So, 3 important documents that you're gonna need for our dependents getting out of here. PRR, Passenger Reservation Request. DD Form 884, Dependency, Transportation of Dependency, and of course your orders. When it comes to the PRR, everything would pretty much pertain to the member, meaning the military member, but in block 33 on the PRR would be the dependents that are trying to leave. However your military ID card is, whatever your name is, how it's on there, it needs to reflect the PRR. So that's going to be the supporting documentation, so we don't need no middle names, just how it is across on the military ID card. For your dependent ID card also, it needs to reflect on the PRR. Yes, ma'am. Passenger reservation request. All right. Next thing, how many people we got leaving with pets? All right. The biggest headache coming out of here, okay? So when it comes to pets, all right, we need to make sure that you're putting that on your PRR. So the 3 things that I need to see on the PRR: type of pet, basically dog, cat. Them the only two type of animals that we can fly to here. Ferrets, parrots, all the other ones, find a way to get rid of them. That's what I would recommend. All right? Cats and dogs, okay? That's what you're authorized. But we need to know if it's a dog, cat, weight, also the crate size, okay? So 40 inches by 20 inches, all that good stuff needs to be on there. And then especially, how old is the pet, all right? So all that information needs to be on this PR because that's gonna set us up to make the reservation for you and your dependents, okay? On that, so once you give us all that supporting documentation, we submit it to Now PTO. Now PTO works with, most of the time, co-share airlines, meaning it would be ANA and United, ANA, American Airlines, okay? When it comes to this is one of the biggest headaches, so make sure you listen to this portion of it. The domestic portion, leaving from Fukuoka to Narita or Haneda will be availability. Once again, availability, that's what you're gonna ask for. So basically, once we send you a tentative itinerary, you're gonna get it. You're gonna reach out to ANA, most of the time, it's gonna be ANA. You're gonna reach out to them, call them on their 1-800 number. You're gonna explain to them, hey, I got 2 cats, okay? You want them in the cabin, explain them, hey, they small cats, they wanna go in the cabin, whatever. Is it availability for that day that you're trying to get out on, okay? If it's availability, we will go ahead and ticket it, and then it will get paid for, and then you will work with the airline to pay for that additional cost for bringing your pets, okay? When it comes to the for the international portion, you will get a confirmation. So most of the time when it's with United or American Airlines, it will be a confirmation. So that's a little bit different most of the times, but we'll be in Japan, so we have to act accordingly.
Your towel on before you leave tonight, okay? All right, we'll figure this out.
All right, also with that, to help us out, and because this is gonna be a big move, not only are we taking care of you guys, but we got the other 34 tentative commands here. We would ask that you try to get us the information as soon as possible. So the minute that you know that the set day that you kind of want to go on or close to, please stay on your spouses about submitting the PR, the DD-84, and all that good stuff so that we can try to get y'all set up for us getting you out of here. When it comes to the days that you request, that's why it's called a passenger reservation request. It's a request. We try to help out as much as we can. So if we can't necessarily get you on, let's say hypothetically you want to leave on the 30th, but the 31st may be available because once again, these are government tickets that's already been purchased the year prior. So we try to accommodate that as much as we can, all right? So don't beat us up, don't call, rant and rave, and we try to do our best to get you to the closest date that you would like to leave on, all right? When it comes to flight for dependents, okay? Entitlement, Sasebo, San Diego, all right? Now, that's the full entitlement for you and your spouse, okay? Now, the spouse, let's sit here and say, wants to go, home of record is, we'll use Austin, Texas, okay? We'll just use Austin, Texas. Which one you think cheaper to fly to, San Diego or Austin? San Diego, because it's closer, right? Port of embarkation, meaning the first entrance into the United States. Most likely going to be somewhere on the West Coast, meaning Seattle, Los Angeles, San Diego. Those are going to be your point of entrance, your first point of entrance into the United States. So if you want to send dependents back to mom house, auntie, granddad, whatever it may be, entitlement is to San Diego. You can even put on the PRR that you want to leave from Fuke, or I should say Fuke, but Sasebo to go there. But the entitlement is only for San Diego. Whatever occurs on the back end, that you will have to pay for that. The difference of that, okay?
I want to thank all the folks who've come to speak tonight, and Captain's going to extend that as well. But one thing I want to highlight is the checklist. Okay, your sponsors all have access to the checklist. We have a home port change team for the BHR. We've met several times. We have several representatives. We get together and talk about the home port change issues. We've talked about, in review, We've talked about personal property, packing that stuff up. We've talked about notifying the housing office so they know that you're going to be vacating your housing. We've talked about arranging your travel to where you're going to move. We've talked about pets. Okay, there's some things that we haven't talked about that are included on the checklist, and those include a power of attorney. If you are in San Diego or wherever you intend to move and your sponsor's on the ship, how are you going to get your household goods? So you need to make sure you have a power of attorney so that you can take care of all those legal matters, from personal property to vehicles. So be thinking about the legal issues. Some folks are married to foreign nationals who need visas in order to go to the U.S. That's something that you want to think of well ahead of time. Cell phones. You need to terminate your cell phone contract. We have a special document that you can take to the cell phone company and they'll let you get out of your contract. You'll still have to pay off your phone, but that's been discussed as well for both SoftBank, AU, and then Docomo. So there's the cell phone. The other issue are your utilities. So make sure that you're talking to your sponsor about how are you going to terminate the cable, the internet, the power. And that's not such a big deal for those of us who live on base, but if you know anybody that's out in town, that might be an issue. But we still have to cover cable and internet. So don't leave with a cable bill. And in Japan, we have sailors who get bills for 33 cents. And it will just keep pinging on the command or on the sponsor. And to us, it seems like an insignificant matter. But to the Japanese companies out in town, they will keep sending documents until they get that ledger taken care of. So that's one of the things you don't want to forget about. So the checklist is a ready reference for you and your sponsors to talk about. And we've covered pretty much everything else that's on there. And my contact information is readily available, so your sponsors know they can contact me or any one of us for the Homeport Change team. And with that, I will go ahead and turn over to the captain unless you have any other questions before you come back. The letter will be distributed through your sponsors. We will have it available through the command, and the admin team will send it out. So as you get closer to terminating that contract, if you have not received it or seen it, feel free to ask, and we'll make sure you get that.
We put out a lot of information. As I said, we have this all on video. You have your information package that's with you. We're available to answer questions. Each sailor, when we were away on patrol, and I don't know if they shared this with you, but I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to put all the sailors on report right now. They were given a survey to fill out to talk about your specific situation. Because every situation is different, and we know that. That's why we gave them the survey. And we gave them a page 13 to fill out, which is an administrative, hey, here's what I'm going to do. This is my plan to execute my move. Okay, so they all have that. So what we need you to do is communicate about what was submitted, or there are some sailors that have not submitted the plan. Okay, they also got to talk to the XO. He didn't tell you that part. But we need to get that plan so we know these eaches. You know, we know these situations where I'm going to go to San Diego, but my spouse is going back to my home of record, wherever that may be. You know, I'm going to go on deployment, and then I want to come back from San Diego to pick my family up and take them there, or I want to take my family to San Diego or their home of record beforehand. See, I mean, there's a million different scenarios that we're going to go through, but if they will fill out that survey and work with our admin department, then we'll make sure that personal property and PSD have the right information to help you facilitate this move. Each and every one of us has a different situation, and I'm aware of that, and that's why we're doing this, to kind of give you the general stuff, to put those questions in your head. And then also I want you to recognize that we have a request for information email, which, have we put that out again? It's in the little personnel packet that you have back here with the ship on it, that you can reach out to the ship and ask specific questions. Most of the speakers this evening, when they gave you that piece of paper, if you look, you have their contact information on there. And if you're not getting that, satisfaction with that, then reach out to us directly on the ship and let us know, hey, I'm not getting what I need. You all know we have a great Facebook page, which this video will be posted on. But you can also reach out and ask for a point of contact. I would ask that you not ask your question specifically so that people have a whole lot of detail about what's going on with the ship movement and stuff like that, but say, hey, who's the point of contact for this or that? And I'm sure that we will get an answer back to you within 20